kind of wild, isn't it? Thinking about AI in music. It's just exploding way beyond, basic beat making now.
It really is. You've got these tools popping up everywhere.
Yeah, like on one hand, you've got things like Suno or Boomy spitting out tunes in seconds, right? Anyone can use them.
Quick and easy.
But then, kind of under the radar, you have serious professionals integrating really sophisticated AI plugins. Think Isotope, AIVA.
Right, into their established complex workflows. That contrast is fascinating.
It really tells you something about how deep this is going.
And what's really emerging is the nuance. It's not just about pushing a button and getting a song anymore. No, we're seeing AI contributing to, like, the really intricate stuff, harmony, rhythm, instrumentation. It's doing it with a sophistication that's genuinely starting to shift how pros approach arranging music.
Exactly. So that's what we're diving into today, specifically that professional side. We're not really focusing on the simple song generators. Our aim is to look at how, expert music producers, arrangers, how they can strategically use AI. Use it like a powerful extension of their own skills.
Like an intelligent co-pilot. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And if you think about the implications, this isn't just new software we're talking about. It's potentially a fundamental change in the arrangement process itself.
How so?
Well, AI's ability to brainstorm ideas really fast or automate some of the more repetitive tasks, it opens the door for a much more fluid, maybe more iterative way of working.
Okay, so it changes the rhythm of creation.
It could, yeah. And that means professionals need to not only get comfortable with new tools, but maybe also rethink how they collaborate creatively, even if that collaboration is with an AI.
And that's our mission for this deep dive, right? To cut through all the hype and give music pros a clear, actionable way to bring these AI tools into their work. But the key thing, and we'll keep coming back to this, is that the human is still in charge. The artistic vision, the taste, the final decisions, that's all still human.
Absolutely paramount. Which leads to the big question, really. How can you, as a music pro, use AI's power to make your work better, maybe faster, without losing your own unique artistic voice?
That's the core of it.
Yeah.
So what's the plan for today? What are we covering?
Okay, so we'll break down the typical music arrangement workflow, pinpoint where AI can actually help.
Right.
We've picked out a set of AI tools to look at, see what they do best.
Good.
Then we'll walk through a step-by-step process for actually integrating these tools, how they play with digital audio workstations.
The practical side.
Exactly. Best practices for making that human-AI partnership work creatively. We'll use examples from different genres.
Okay.
And crucially, we'll talk about the limitations, where AI falls short right now, and why that human expertise is still absolutely essential.
And it's interesting how specialized these tools are becoming, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a really key point. Some are great for harmony, others for melody, rhythm, suggesting instruments.
So knowing which tool to grab for which job is step one.
Pretty much. Understanding that specialization is key to using them effectively.
Okay, great. So if you're listening and you're a music professional or maybe just seriously into production and you want to get a handle on AI without getting lost in tech speak, this is for you.
We've tried to boil it down to the essential insights.
All right, let's unpack this then. When we talk about the actual process, the nuts and bolts of arranging music, where can AI genuinely step in and help?
Okay, so to really see AI's potential, it helps to break down that traditional arrangement workflow. It varies a bit, but generally you see stages like
Go on.
conceptualization, getting that initial idea, then harmonization, creating counter melodies, counterpoint.
The layers.
Right. Deciding on instruments orchestration, building the rhythmic foundation, then varying and developing your melodies, and finally shaping the overall structure, the form.
Okay, those are the core building blocks. So let's go through them. Where does AI fit in? Let's start with getting idea.
A generation, yeah. This is where AI can be super helpful, especially if you hit a creative wall.
We've all been there.
Totally. AI tools can spit out melodic fragments, suggest interesting chord progressions, maybe create rhythmic patterns. You can feed them text prompts like upbeat synthwave intro or set musical parameters, key, tempo, that kind of thing.
That sounds like a great way to just spark something new or explore directions you wouldn't normally think of.
Exactly. Jumpstart a session.
Okay. What about harmony? That's so fundamental.
Harmony, right. AI can really speed up the exploration phase here. It can suggest alternative chord voicings, maybe harmonic variations that add a different color. Some tools even automatically generate vocal harmony lines, which frees up the arranger to think about the bigger harmonic picture, the emotional arc.
And counterpoint. adding those intricate layers.
Yeah, believe it or not, there are even specialized AI tools for that now. They can generate contrapuntal lines that follow specific musical rules or adapt to a certain style. Adds richness, you know?
Wow. Okay. Now, instrumentation, orchestration, feels like such a human art form. Nuance, taste. How does AI help there?
Well, you're right. The deep craft of orchestration is still very human-driven. Experience, taste, it all matters hugely. But AI can provide useful starting points. It can suggest instruments that fit your genre or mood, maybe generate some basic instrumental layers or rough orchestrations, sketches.
Sketches, okay.
And some newer tools, the prompt-based ones, you can actually ask them for specific instrument combos to get a certain effect.
So it's more like brainstorming assistance, not generating a finished orchestral score.
Precisely. Think of it as an intelligent assistant tossing out possibilities.
Gotcha. Okay, moving to rhythm. The groove.
Yeah.
How's AI impacting that?
AI tools can generate all sorts of drum patterns, suggest bass lines, create rhythmic variations. You can guide them by genre, style, or even feed them an existing pattern to riff on.
Right.
So it's great for quickly laying down a rhythmic bed, or maybe exploring complex polyrhythms or syncopation. You might not easily program yourself.
Yeah, I can see that saving a lot of time and maybe sparking some unusual rhythmic ideas.
Yeah.
What if you have a melody but want to develop it? Take it somewhere.
Melodic variation and development AI can be a strong partner here too. It can transform existing melodies or rhythms in musically intelligent ways.
That's it.
Like generate variations on a theme or extend a musical section coherently so it feels connected to what came before.
Interesting. And the big picture, the overall structure, the form of the piece. Can AI help organize that?
That's one area where AI is currently less developed, I'd say.
Okay.
Some tools might offer really basic structural suggestions, maybe outlining sections, but the critical decisions about the narrative flow, the journey of the piece, that's still very much in the human arranger's hands.
Right, that makes sense. So boiling it down, it sounds like AI is really good at pattern recognition, generating variations within rules, working with defined parameters.
Exactly. Think of, say, rule-based harmony tools. They stick to the theory. Or genre-specific rhythm generators. They've learned the typical patterns from tons of music in that style. They're great at applying those learned patterns in new ways based on your input.
But less good the fuzzy stuff.
Yeah.
The subjective emotional side.
Precisely. AI struggles with deep contextual understanding right now. Those subtle emotional nuances that really connect with the listener, that's hard for an algorithm.
Yeah.
And building a compelling story across a whole piece of music, that large-scale narrative, that still needs human intuition and experience.
Okay, so the takeaway is AI handles the technical, pattern-based heavy lifting really well, which frees up the human arranger to focus on the art, the emotion, the overall vision.
That's the ideal workflow, yeah. Leverage AI speed and variation generation, while the human focuses on the artistic intent, the feeling, making sure the structure tells a story.
Okay, that framework is super helpful. Now let's get to the exciting part, the actual AI tools themselves. What's in the modern arranger's toolkit?
Right, the landscape is huge and it's changing fast. So to make sense of it, it helps to group the tools by what they primarily do in the arrangement process.
Makes sense. What are the main categories we should know about?
Okay, first up, harmony and counterpoint generators. These are tools built specifically for helping with chords, harmonic layers, and those contrapuntal lines we mentioned.
Examples.
You've got things like kits.ai's harmony generator, Musicfy, Music Muse for auto harmonization, the counterpoint calculator, Art Infuser CP1, Orb chords from Landar Composer, tools like that.
Okay, so tools for building that harmonic structure. What's next?
And then you have melody and motive developers. These are focused on sparking, changing, and developing melodic ideas, little musical phrases or motifs. Think Lemonade, which is also called Spawn, Audio Cipher, Melody Sauce 2, Melody Studio, Orb Melody, again from Lander, Ivia does this too, and Magenta Studio has functions like Continue and Generate.
Right, some familiar names there. What about the rhythm section, beats and grooves?
Yeah, for laying down rhythm, there's a whole category. Rhythm and beat creators. Tools like Soundful, Beethoven.ai, Boomy, Moobert, Sounddraw, Playbeat, Emergent Drums 2, DrumNet, and Bass Dragon. Lots of options there for different styles.
Definitely. Okay, moving up the layers, instrumentation. Suggesting instruments.
For instrumentation and orchestration suggesters, you're looking at tools like AIVA again, Orb Producer, part of Landar Composer, Sample Logic Symphonic AI, Hexachord's Orb Composer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worth remembering those prompt-based tools like Suno or Udio. You can often steer them towards specific instruments just by asking in your text prompt.
Interesting how the lines blur sometimes. What about tools that help with the whole composition, more broadly?
Right, that's the full composition and idea assistance category. These are platforms designed to generate more complete musical ideas, maybe whole sections, or even starting points for full tracks.
Which ones fall here?
Suno, Udio, AIVA pops up again because it's quite versatile. SoundDraw, Amper, Music Muse, those kinds of platforms.
So good for getting past a blank page or exploring really broad ideas.
Exactly. And finally, maybe the most important category for pro workflows, DI integrated assistants and plugins.
Ah, the ones that live right inside your music software. This is key for smooth workflow, isn't it?
Absolutely key. These are designed to work directly within your digital audio workstation.
Like which ones?
Magenta Studio, Lemonade Spawn, Orb Producer, Lander Composer shows up again, Isotopes, Neutron, and Ozone plugins with their AI features, Playbeat, Melody Sauce 2, Output Co-Producer, Baby Audio TIP, some Waves tools, Newtone, even Text to Sample.
Wow, that's a pretty comprehensive list covering a lot of ground.
Yeah.
To really get a feel for them, maybe we could dive a bit deeper into a few key examples, see how they actually work.
Sure, good idea. Let's start with AIVA. It's known for generating original music, especially in classical, cinematic, orchestral styles.
Oh.
What's compelling is its ability to create stuff with a real sense of emotional progression. It gives you quite a bit of control over harmony, rhythm, structure. It even has an editor that feels a bit like a die-day.
And output.
You can export scores, MIDI files, but it's worth noting sometimes the output needs, extra work, more than just background music, maybe adding automation, detailed mixing to really make it shine.
So powerful for certain genres, but needs that human finishing touch.
Mm-hmm.
What about Soundful? Sounds different.
Soundful has a different focus, yeah. It's really geared towards generating royalty-free background music quickly, mainly for content creators.
How does it work?
It's mostly template-based. You pick a genre, mood, tempo, and it gives you mastered tracks ready to go. The Pro plan is interesting. It gives you stem packs, including MIDI files sometimes, which allows for more editing later, and direct distribution options.
So great for quick, usable background tracks, with options for deeper tweaking if you need it.
Exactly. Very practical for that use case.
Okay, now for something really specific, Kits.ai Harmony Generator.
Right. Kits.ai is laser-focused on vocal harmonies. Takes a single vocal line and can generate complex harmonies, maybe layered vocals, up to 7 parts.
Wow.
It has a big library of AI voices, royalty-free, and you can customize them, pitch, style, adapt them to different genres. It's super specialized for producers needing quick, flexible vocal harmony options. Doesn't do the other arrangement stuff, though.
Right. Highlights the need to pick the right tool for the job. What about something for sparking ideas inside the DW?
That's where Lemonade, or Spawn, comes in. It's designed for generating musical starting points, melodies, chords, bass lines as MIDI or audio, and integrates tightly with major DAWs.
How does it generate the ideas?
It uses AI models trained by, industry producers. You set parameters like genre, key, scale. It often has intuitive controls like an XY pad for effects and drag and drop to get the ideas straight into your project.
License.
Different tiers, personal versus commercial. It's really powerful for breaking writer's block, quickly trying out ideas right where you work.
Sounds incredibly useful for just getting unstuck. What about an AI tool that's tied very closely to one specific DAW?
Magenta Studio is a prime example. It's a set of free open source tools, but they're specifically Macs for live plugins for Ableton Live.
Ah, okay, so Ableton users only, mostly.
Pretty much. That tight integration lets you manipulate and generate MIDI right inside Ableton. It has tools for extending MIDI clips intelligently, humanizing drum patterns, generating short phrases, deriving drum patterns from melodies, even morphing between ideas.
Control.
You get a temperature control for randomness. It uses RNN and VAE models. Very powerful for Ableton users into algorithmic stuff. But yeah, limited to that ecosystem and sometimes works best with simpler inputs.
Free and open source is always good to see. Now, something pushing the boundaries with voice.
That would definitely be Musicfy. It's all about innovative AI voice tech. Things like voice cloning, AI covers of songs, text to music with synthesized vocals, even voice to instrument.
Voice to instrument, how does that work?
You can hum or sing a part, and it generates the synthesized instrument playing that line. You can also create custom AI voice models from your own voice use their royalty-free voices, generate whole songs from text prompts, including vocals. It's really unique in its focus on voice manipulation.
It's amazing how diverse these tools are, each with its own angle. And it sounds like how you interact with them varies a lot too.
Totally. There's a whole spectrum of input methods. Lots of tools, especially for quick ideas or full songs, rely on text prompts. You just describe what you want.
Natural language.
Right. Others are more parameter-based. Sliders, menus, controls for genre, mood, tempo, complexity. You guide it with musical settings.
More structured.
Yeah. And then some tools take direct musical input. You upload audio or MIDI or even play or sing something in directly. And many advanced tools actually combine these methods. You might use a prompt and set some parameters.
If you choose the input style that fits your workflow or the task.
Exactly. And a really big trend, as we mentioned, is the growth of these specialized AI plugins that work right inside your DIW.
Yeah, that seems huge for actual adoption by pros.
It is. It shows the market is maturing. Working inside your familiar DAW just removes so much friction compared to constantly switching apps or exporting files.
It really does feel like we're heading towards like an AI ecosystem within the day itself.
That's a great way to think about it. Imagine having a suite of specialized AI assistants, one for drums, one for harmony, one for mixing, all working together seamlessly in your DAW.
And the arranger's role.
It shifts more towards being the conductor, right?
Yeah.
Skillfully guiding these different AI tools to bring your overall artistic vision to life.
A compelling picture. Okay, now we know about the tools, let's get practical. How do you actually integrate them effectively? Is there a step-by-step approach?
Having a structured process definitely helps. I like to think of it in 4 main phases. Phase 1, input and initialization.
Okay.
Phase 2, AI-assisted generation. Phase 3, human curation and refinement. This one's key. And phase 4, iteration and development.
All right, let's break those down. Phase 1, input and initialization. What happens here?
This is where you set the stage. First, define your creative goal super clearly. What genre, mood, instrumentation are you aiming for? What's the purpose of this arrangement?
Be specific.
Then prepare your input. That could be a melody or chords as MIDI or audio, maybe detailed text prompts, even reference tracks that capture the vibe you want. Next, choose the right AI tool or tools for that specific goal and input type.
Match the tool to the task.
Exactly. And finally, configure the initial settings in the tool key, tempo, genre, maybe how complex or random you want the output to be.
So basically giving the AI its brief. What's phase 2, AI-assisted generation?
This is where you hit go, essentially. Based on your input and settings, you get the AI to generate stuff. Harmonic options, melodic variations, counter melodies, rhythmic patterns, maybe instrumentation ideas.
Okay.
The crucial thing here is to generate multiple options. Don't just take the first thing it spits out. Play with the parameters, get a range of possibilities. Try AIVA for a few harmony ideas. Lemonade for different melodic twists.
Explore the space.
Yeah.
Okay, now phase 3, you said this was key. Human curation and refinement.
Absolutely critical. This is where your musical judgment comes in. You have to critically evaluate everything the AI generated.
Wow.
Ask yourself, is it musical? Does it fit the project? Is it original enough? Is it technically sound? Be ruthless, discard stuff that doesn't work.
Right.
Then select the most promising bits. Could be whole ideas, could just be fragments. And then comes the heavy lifting, editing and adapting.
In the AI tool or the DIW?
Yeah. Sometimes you can edit in the AI tool, but more often you'll export it probably as MIDI to your DAW, and there you get forensic. Modify notes, rhythms, timing, dynamics, change voicings, tweak the instrumentation, add articulations, expression, all the stuff that makes it sound human and intentional.
This is where the real arranging happens, shaping the AI's raw ideas.
Precisely. It's often the most time-consuming part, but it's where the art lies.
Okay, and the final phase, iteration and development.
Right, because creation is rarely linear. You'll often take your refined material and feed it back into the AI as new input.
Like a loop.
Exactly. Ask for more variations based on your edited version. Layer different refined AI elements together. You repeat that cycle. Generate, curate, refine, re-input, especially as you build different sections. And pay special attention to transitions between sections and the overall form. That usually needs a lot of human input to feel right.
So it's a continuous back and forth, human judgment guiding AI generation.
That's the idea. AI speeds up the idea creation, massively sometimes, but that just makes the human curation part even more important and potentially time-consuming. Your value increasingly lies in how well you select, shape, and integrate that AI output to serve your vision.
So honing those critical listening skills, getting efficient at evaluating AI stuff, becoming a better editor. Those are the skills to develop.
Absolutely vital for the modern arranger working with these tools.
Makes total sense. Okay, let's talk about the connection to our main production hub, the DAW. How do these AI tools actually plug into that environment? What are the common ways?
There are a few main ways they integrate. Probably the most seamless and often what people prefer is using plugins, VST, AU, AAX formats.
Right.
These AI plugins run directly inside your DAW project.
Right.
Real-time MIDI generation, smart audio processing, Lemonade, Landiar Composer, iZotope stuff, Playbeat, lots of examples work this way.
So they just become another instrument or effect in your rack.
Yeah.
What else?
MIDI export and import. This is super common for standalone or web-based tools like AIVA or Suno. They generate the music, you export it as a standard MIDI file. Then you just import that MIDI into your DAW. Gives you maximum flexibility, right? You can use your own virtual instruments, edit every single note.
Total control over the sound and the notes. What about audio?
Yeah, audio stem, export, and import. Some tools generate the actual audio for each part, the stems. You import those audio files into your DAW.
Convenience.
Definitely convenient. You hear the AI sound immediately, but usually less editable than MIDI. Although some tools, like Soundful we mentioned, cleverly give you both the audio stems and the MIDI in their stem packs. Best of both worlds, really.
That does sound flexible. Any other methods?
Some tools have neat drag and drop. You literally drag the generated MIDI or audio from the AI tool's window and drop it onto your DAW timeline. Super quick.
Okay, so the integration method really affects how you work with it. How do you choose your strategy?
It depends on the tool, mostly. If it's a plugin, you work iteratively right there in the DAW. Generate, tweak, generate again. If it's standalone with export-import, you need a good system for managing those files. And you have to decide, do I want the MIDI for full control or the audio for speed? Often depends where you are in the process.
Hybrid approaches.
Very common. Maybe use Suno online to get a quick vocal concept, then bring that idea into your DAW and develop it using plugins for harmony and rhythm.
Compatibility must be a consideration too.
Always. Check if the tool works with your DAW and your operating system. Thankfully, most pro plugins use standard formats, so compatibility is usually pretty good these days.
And the workflow flexibility really hinges on that integration method.
Absolutely. Plugins, immediate interaction. MIDI export equals maximum control after generation. Audio stems, convenience, less editing. You pick based on what you need at that moment.
It definitely feels like those specialized DAW plugins are the way forward for smoother workflows.
It really does. That growing ecosystem, plugins for MIDI, mixing, mastering, samples, vocals, drums, it points to that future we talked about. Multiple AI assistants collaborating within the DAW.
With the human arranger as the conductor.
Exactly, leading the AI orchestra.
Love that image. Okay, we've got the tools, the workflow, the DAW integration. Now, let's talk about making that collaboration truly creative and effective. What are the best practices for working with AI?
I think the first thing is mindset. You have to see yourself as the maestro, the director, not just a spectator watching the AI do its thing.
Right. Stay in control. So how does that translate practically?
Well, start by defining your objectives really clearly before you touch the AI. Know what you're aiming for, genre, mood, function of the arrangement.
Set the destination.
Exactly. Then set boundaries for the AI. Give it constraints, key, tempo, maybe structural ideas, complexity limits, help it focus, and most importantly, always maintain artistic direction. The AI serves your vision, not the other way around.
Okay, setting the rules. What about actually talking to the AI? Prompts, parameters. How do you get good results?
Crafting good inputs is huge. For text prompts, think prompt engineering. Be descriptive, be specific. Don't just say sad melody.
Give it more.
Yeah, say slow, melancholic, minor key piano melody, stepwise motion, slightly unresolved feeling. Mention genre, mood, instruments, rhythm, style references if you have them, and iterate. If the first result isn't right, tweak your prompt.
Okay, what about parameter controls? Sliders, knobs?
Understand what each parameter actually does. Temperature, complexity, density. What's the effect? Start with presets, then make small, incremental changes. Experiment systematically. And if you're feeding it musical input, like MIDI or audio, make sure that input is clean, clear, well played. Garbage in, garbage out still applies.
Quality input matters.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you balance using AI speed without, sacrificing your artistic soul?
That's the tightrope walk, isn't it? It's tempting to just take the quick AI option. But don't trade integrity for speed. Use AI as an accelerator, a starting point, an idea generator. But always carve out time for critical reflection, for adding your human touch.
What is the human touch, really?
Nuances, deliberate imperfections, those subjective choices that make music feel alive and personal. Your unique stamp.
Got it. And how do you avoid everything sounding kind of samey, generically AI? Maintain authenticity.
Several ways. One, extensive editing. Really dig in and change the AI output. Treat it like raw clay.
Don't be afraid to mangle it.
Exactly. Two, hybrid approach. Mix AI-generated parts with stuff you play or program yourself. That blend can be really unique. Three, be selective. Maybe AI only does the background pads or a specific rhythmic layer. And ultimately, develop your curatorial sense, your taste. Your ability to choose, combine, and refine AI suggestions in a way that reflects your style. You become the curator, the integrator.
So the arranger's job expands to include being a really good editor and curator of AI ideas.
That's a huge part of it now. And embrace that iterative cycle we talked about.
Generate, evaluate, refine, repeat.
Yes. Treat AI suggestions like proposals, not final answers. Generate lots of options. Evaluate critically. Refine the good bits. Feed them back in. Experiment. And finally, build trust but verify. Understand what the tool can and can't do. Stay critical. Test it out. Learn its quirks.
That's fantastic practical advice. To make it even more concrete, could we walk through some scenarios? How might this look in different musical genres?
Sure, let's try a few. Say, a contemporary pop arrangement.
Okay.
You could use Kits.ai or Musicfy for quick vocal harmonies. Maybe Lemonade or Magenta for catchy synth hooks or arps. Sounddraw or Playbeat for the drums. Bass Dragon or Orb Bass for the bass line.
So AI generates the parts. What's the human role?
Huge. Curating all those generated bits, editing them heavily, deep sound design to get that polished pop sound, mixing, mastering, and crucially structuring the song, verses, choruses, bridge. AI doesn't really do song form well yet.
Gotcha. AI provides the raw ingredients, human provides the recipe and the final cooking. What about something totally different, like orchestral music?
Okay, orchestral sketching. You might use AIVA for initial layers, harmonic ideas, maybe sample logic for some hybrid textures, AIVA or Art Infuser for some basic counterpoint ideas.
And
Then the human takes over. Export that MIDI to the DW. Assign high-quality orchestral samples, that's critical. Then comes the detailed work, refining voicings, adding articulations, dynamics, phrasing, making sure it follows good orchestration practice. AI is an accelerator here for getting the initial sketch down fast.
So it handles some foundational stuff, freeing the composer for the detailed craft. Make sense? What about electronic music? Techno, house.
For electronic music, AI can be great for complex rhythms, Playbeat, emergent drums, maybe Magenta for evolving grooves, Mubert or Soundful for atmospheric pads and textures, Lemonade or Orb Arpeggio for synth lines and sequences.
Human role here.
Yeah.
Seems like sound design is key.
Absolutely. Rigorous curation of the AI's rhythmic and melodic output, intensive sound design to sculpt those synth sounds, structuring the track's build-up and drops, and the mixing and mastering, which really defines the genre sound.
So the human sculptor role is maybe even more pronounced in electronic genres. One more: film scoring. Mood-based stuff.
Yeah, film scoring. Often about hitting a specific mood quickly. Prompt-based tools like Suno, Udio, or mood generators like Ikrit, Beethoven can be useful for generating textures or ideas that fit an emotional brief. AIVA is good here, too, for its emotional focus.
And the composer's job.
Selecting the AI bits that really work with the picture, importing them into the DAW, layering them subtly, syncing them precisely to the visuals, adding dynamics, expression to heighten the emotion, integrating them into the larger score.
Okay, so across all these genres, a pattern emerges. AI is like an idea multiplier.
That's a good term for it.
Yeah, it throws out lots of possibilities, fast. Then the human arranger steps in to choose, adapt, refine, and integrate them into their own vision.
Exactly. It expands your palette, lets you explore more ground quicker, but how you use it, which tools you choose, that really depends on the specific needs and conventions of the genre you're working in.
Okay, this is all incredibly exciting, but we need to be realistic too. Let's talk limitations. Where does AI currently fall short in music arrangement?
Yeah, important to keep perspective. Right now, AI often struggles with real nuanced emotional depth. It can generate sad or happy music, but sometimes it feels a bit on by the numbers, formulaic, lacking subtle expression,
Okay.
contextual understanding. It doesn't really get subtle cultural references, irony, or deeper meanings in the way a human does. Also, large-scale structure and narrative, building a truly coherent, compelling journey across a long piece. That still needs human oversight.
Right, the big picture thinking.
And then there's the question of true originality. Is AI really creating something new or just doing very sophisticated recombination of its training data? That leads to worries about potentially derivative music.
And the big one, ethics and copyright.
Huge issue. Still largely unresolved. Who owns AI-generated music? What about the data it was trained on? Could you unintentionally plagiarize something? Licensing models are all over the place. It's a minefield you have to navigate carefully.
Those are significant limitations and concerns.
Yeah.
So given those, where is the human touch still absolutely essential? What can't AI do?
Well, those limitations really highlight the human strengths, don't they? Things like creative intuition, having a unique artistic vision, the ability to connect emotionally, understand and convey deep feeling, understanding cultural context, crafting a meaningful musical narrative, adding those nuanced performance details, tiny shifts in timing, dynamics, articulation that make music breathe, and of course, exercising ethical judgment.
So AI doesn't make human expertise obsolete.
Not at all. If anything, it shifts the focus. It frees us from some drudgery, maybe, but elevates the importance of those higher-level artistic, emotional, and intellectual skills.
It's about finding the synergy then.
Yeah.
Using AI for its strengths, human for theirs.
Exactly. Leverage the complementary capabilities. Apply human expertise where it's truly needed. The human remains the guide, the curator, the ultimate owner of the creative vision.
And those unresolved ethical and copyright issues act as a practical break, too.
They really do. You have to do your homework. Understand where the AI tool's training data came from. Read the licensing terms very carefully. Be aware of the potential IP risks. Due diligence is part of the workflow now.
This has been incredibly thorough, a real deep dive. If we were to boil it all down, what's the main takeaway message for listeners?
I think the core message is this. AI is a seriously powerful co-pilot for music arrangement. It can boost your creativity, make you more efficient, but only if you integrate it thoughtfully, strategically.
Right.
Remember that 4-phase iterative model. And never forget that the human you remains the director, the curator, the one with the vision.
What about the future? Where do you see this heading?
I expect we'll see AI getting better at understanding structure, emotion, deeper, smoother DIW integration seems inevitable, maybe AI generating more nuanced, human-like performances, and hopefully more clarity on the ethical and copyright side. That's crucial.
So constant learning is required.
Absolutely. We all need to keep learning, adapting as these tools evolve.
And what does all this mean for the role of the human arranger going forward? Are we being replaced?
I really don't think so. I think AI reshapes things, yes, but ultimately it elevates the importance of human musicality, taste, artistic vision, emotional connection. Those things AI can't replicate.
So embrace it as a partner.
Exactly. By embracing AI as a co-pilot, you can explore new territory, enhance your unique voice, push your own creative boundaries. It's about smart collaboration between human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
That's a really positive and empowering note to end on. So the final thought for you, the listener, what new sonic landscapes, what new emotional depths might you discover through this powerful, evolving partnership? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.